Movie buffs, welcome back to the Movie Bay. This is Day. In today's video, we're going to take a look at 25 box office bombs. I just recently did summer blockbusters, 20 summer blockbusters. We got 25 box office bombs. When these movies came out, there was box office bombs. A lot of these movies were excellent. In fact, most of these movies are really good movies. They just didn't do good. They just didn't get the right PR. Some of them in some of these movies are just classics. One is one of these movies is just unbelievable. It's unbelievable that this movie didn't do well, but I kind of guess why it didn't do well is when it came out. So without further ado, let's dive in. I'm not going to give numbers. Just know that all of these movies lost their respective studios money. And some more than others. Some didn't lose that much money, but you know how the studios are. If they don't recoup the production costs and the marketing budget, the movie's a bomb. And they usually drop if they had plans for it to be a series or a trilogy or whatever, they'll drop it if it lose enough. But there's been some movies where the first movie lost the studio money and they still greenlit a second one. So that happens. That really does. But let's dive in. Probably the greatest box office bomb of all times. Probably. If it's not the number one, this is in the top 3 greatest box office bombs of all times. And this is an example of a movie that is fantastic, in my opinion. I really enjoyed this movie. I like everything about this movie. The acting, the effects was great. I enjoyed it. I thought it was an enjoyable watch. We're talking John Carter. This movie is excellent. I like this movie. I recommend this movie. I put this movie on one of my underrated movies lists. It's a good Disney movie. It really, really is. But Disney lost their shirt on this one. They really did. I think a big part of it was marketing. They did not market this movie. John Carter is for people who is deep into like the comic book world, they might know a little bit about the character of John Carter, but for the most part, when you're putting out a movie like this, and they're pretty much unknown IP, you got to really flood the zone with marketing. And I don't think they did that. I think they did a piss poor job at marketing this movie, but it was a really good movie in my opinion. And that's got to be in the top 3 greatest box office bombs of all time. It's got to be. Battleship. This is another one. Again, I like this movie. It's not the greatest movie I ever saw. It has generic moments. They went absolutely wild with the CG. So I'm quite sure that's where all the money went in this one, and the effects. I liked it. I thought it was a pretty rock solid, enjoyable watch. Battleship. But it lost its studio money. Here's another one. I figured this one would have lost money, but you got Charlie Hunnam and Jude Law and King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. This was actually a pretty good movie, but it lost the studio money. We'll talk about why a lot of these movies are losing studios money now and why studios aren't really putting out a lot of basic movies like they used to. We'll talk about that at the end. The Dark Phoenix, this movie, you know what? Out of the first class movies, the X-Men, so this is I call this the first class series of movies. I would say this is probably the second weakest one. I still think I like this a little bit more than Apocalypse, but Apocalypse was okay. It was an okay movie, but again, if you're trying to tell that whole Dark Phoenix storyline, they fucked it up in Last Stand in the original series of X-Men movies. They fucked it up with Last Stand, trying to explain that Dark Phoenix, and they definitely screwed it up in this one. So that's that. But that movie went on to be a box office bomb. Wonder Woman 1984. Now, to be fair to this movie, it came out during the pandemic, and it went straight to streaming. It did open in theaters, but it also went straight to streaming. So I'm quite sure that hurt it too. And that's me being fair to the movie. To be realistic with the movie, it wasn't a good movie. Okay? So I'm going to be fair and real at the same time. It wasn't a good movie compared to the first one. It really wasn't. But it came out at the wrong time. It just came out at the wrong time, and it wasn't that great of a movie to begin with. But I think if the stars was in alignment, we wasn't suffering from a pandemic, and this movie came out under normal circumstances, I think it would have fared better at the box. The Flash. Now, we all knew, all of us who follow the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we all knew that this movie was in production hell. This movie was going to have issues. They was having issues with Ezra Miller. They was just having a lot of issues over there at Marvel's, especially around the time this movie was in production and getting ready to come out. So it's no surprise that this movie lost money. A lot of these movies did very well at the worldwide box. For example, this movie did $271 million at the worldwide box. That's really not a lot of money for a Marvel movie. I'll keep it funky with you. That's not a lot of money for a Marvel movie. So keep that in mind. In Wonder Woman 84, it did $166.5 million. That's horrible. But again, I'm not going to compare the two releases because Wonder Woman 84 came out during the pandemic and it went straight to streaming. So it opened up in the theater, limited run in theaters and streaming. So this next one, I didn't have high hopes for it. I really didn't. And it did a respectable number at the box, $384 million, but it still lost the studio money. It still lost the studio money. It's an Indiana Jones movie. There was a lot of people who wanted to see this movie because it's a very nostalgic IP. It really is. But it didn't really, I don't even know if it broke even. So I'm looking at the report here. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny lost the studio $143 million. So I'm not going to give numbers for all of them, but some of them I will explain because I got the numbers. I just don't feel like going through all the numbers with all of them like I usually do with this type of video. Just know that these movies lost the studio money, but some of them I will explain. Blowout with Nancy Allen and John Travolta. Now, again, I got this movie on the Criterion Collection, but this movie, I was very young when this movie came out, so I can't tell you anything about this movie, like far as box office and, you know, the hype around it or if it had hype or anything. I can tell you one thing, it's a damn good movie. I can tell you that much. But Blowout, it only did $13.7 million. Okay, and it cost $18 million to make it. So that movie didn't even break even. Next up is The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. This was a box office bomb. It didn't do good at the box, but it's going on to become both a cult and a mainstream classic. If a movie can be both. Because I know some people say, well, wait a minute, if it's a cult classic, how is it a mainstream? Because everybody like it. The people that's in the cult, a cult, you know them, you know who cult followers are. Everybody will call this movie a classic. That's why I usually say cult and mainstream. Mainstream people, to me, that include casual movie watchers. Even casual movie watchers would call this a classic. So that's why I say cult and mainstream. And The Thing did $19.6 million, and it lost the studio $15 million. So, no, it cost, I'm sorry. Yeah, it did $19.6 million in the worldwide box, and it cost $15 million to make it. Dazed and Confused. This is another one that didn't do too good at the box. Dazed and Confused, it raked in $6.3 million, and it cost $8 million to make it. So again, didn't even break even. At least John Carpenter's The Thing, it broke even, but it wasn't profitable. Here's one that's going to shock some of you. Some of you are in the loop with this sort of thing, that this movie was a box office bomb. I mean, I get why it was a box office bomb. I think it just came out at the wrong time. The right movie, just wrong time. And we got The Shawshank Redemption. Definitely the right movie. For damn sure, it's the right movie. But it just didn't do good at the worldwide box. Shawshank took in $25 million at the worldwide box, $25 million, and it cost $28 million to make it. And to throw salt in the wound, it got beat in the worldwide box by this, Universal Soldier. Now, I get why it got beat by this. I get it. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren, action movie at the height of Jean-Claude Van Damme's fame. I get it. I get why that movie beat Shawshank, but that just goes to show that worldwide box is not an indicator of a good movie. Just like, you know, in music, they always try to say people who get Grammys are better than people who don't get Grammys. Not always true. Not always true. Not always true. Just like what I just showed you. There's no way in hell Universal Soldier can't even smell Shawshank's ass. So there we go. Next up, we got The Big Lebowski. It only did $15 million at the worldwide box, and it cost $18 million to make it. So this one didn't even break even. Good movie, though. Then next up, we have The Iron Giant. This is an animated movie, and it made, this movie raked in $31 million at the worldwide box, and it cost $50 million to make it. So this is another one that didn't even break even. Here's one that a lot of people are going to be surprised about. It didn't do good at the worldwide box. And I'll show you guys something here. You got Edward Norton and Brad Pitt. Now, Brad Pitt got a couple of movies that bombed in theaters. Brad Pitt is, don't get me wrong, Brad Pitt is a superstar. He's got a lot of good movies under his belt, but he got a lot of bombs under his belt too. So this movie here, Fight Club, raked in $37 million, and it cost $65 million to make it. Didn't even break even. And Fight Club is a classic. So, you know what I'm saying? Next up, we got, and I knew this movie wasn't going to do good. I remember when this movie came out. It's not really a good movie to begin with. It's all right, but it ain't nothing crazy. Kingdom of Heaven. So Kingdom of Heaven, it only took in $47.4 million, right? And it cost $130 million to make this bullshit. $130 million to make this. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Some of these studios, the money they put behind some movies and then the money that they don't put behind other movies is just mind-boggling. Next up, Clive Owen, Julianne Moore, Michael Caine, Children of Men. This is a good movie. This is a solid movie. Children of Men. It took in $70 million and it cost $76 million to make it. So this one didn't even break even. Here's another Brad Pitt flop. That's what I'm telling you. Brad Pitt got some flops. Killing Me Softly, that's another Brad Pitt flop. It's not on this list, but that's another one that pops into my head. Like, you know, and again, I'm not taking nothing away from Brad Pitt. I like Brad Pitt. I think he's a great actor, but he's got some fucking bombs out there. So we got The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. This is a good movie. Don't get me wrong. This is a really good movie. But this movie here, it only took in $15 million on a $30 million budget. It didn't even, this was half. This movie only made half of what they put out to make it. So the hell with breaking even. This is a 50%er right here. This is in the 50% club. Next up, Brad Pitt again. Brad Pitt and Sean Penn. You would have thought this movie was going to rake in the dollars, but we have Tree of Life. Tree of Life took in $58 million, and it lost the studio $32 million. So it did break even, but they didn't get all the money. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely they more than broke even, but it wasn't profitable. So this movie took in more than it lost, but it didn't take in enough to become profitable. Next up, we have Hugo. Hugo took in $170 million, and it cost $185 million to make it. Okay? Let's see here. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, yeah. All right. Next up is one that I knew this was going to be a bomb. I love all the actors involved, but I knew this movie was not going to do well. It just, the type of movie. You got Joaquin Phoenix, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Amy Adams in The Master. Decent movie. I'm not going to say it's great. Decent movie. It just didn't, it just didn't hit with audiences. And it raked in $32 million, and it cost $28.3 to make it. So it basically broke even. And movies that break even in Hollywood, they're considered bombs. They just are. Here's one that, and the reason why I think this one did bad is because, well, let's talk about the movie first, and I'll tell you why, my opinion on this one. This is Dredd. Carl Urban's version of Dredd. I thought this was fantastic. I thought this blew Stallone's version of Dredd completely out of the water. I mean, this movie was fantastic. Had this one come out first, it would have did better, in my opinion. But I think people had a sore taste in their mouth from the Stallone version of Dredd, which, in my opinion, that's an okay movie. but watching, if this one didn't exist, that would be an okay version of Judge Dredd. It's not accurate at all, but this is more accurate. But unfortunately, this one came out second. And it shows in the box office. This movie just got dogged. I mean, people just did not go see this movie. So you have Dredd. This made $13 million, and it cost $50 million to make it. And it was a good movie. It really, really was. This to me is an example of a movie just being treated unfairly in the box office. I mean, damn, $13 million. This is a high quality movie. I'm trying to tell you. It's a good movie. It's not perfect, but it's a really good movie. And this blows the Stallone version of Dredd completely out of the water. I took a lot of issues with the Stallone version of Dredd. Even before this one came out, I took a lot of issues with that movie. I didn't like how much comedy was in the movie. I didn't like the fact that Stallone didn't have the helmet on the majority of the movie. Judge Dredd in comics, he never takes his helmet off. He did it right. Carl Urban did an interview, and he talked about this movie and how he wanted to keep the helmet on throughout the whole movie because that's what Dredd is. And I get it. The studio, Stallone was a big star at the time. They wanted to show that it was Stallone, but they did themselves a disservice by casting somebody like Stallone because Stallone is the type of guy you want people to know is him in your movie, but it hurt the movie in my opinion. Next up, I knew this one was going to stink. I mean, you got a great cast in here. I mean, damn. I mean, I'm quite sure that this movie lost all kinds of money, and I'm quite sure this one couldn't have made back the budget because of all the star power is in here. You got Tom Hanks, Halle Berry, Hugo Weaving, Jim Struggs, Donna Bay. I mean, let's think Keith David. I'm just pulling out all the big ones. Hugh Grant. Look at the shit. We got Cloud Atlas. Again, not a terrible flick. But let's see. Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas made $30 million at the worldwide box. And it cost $150 million to make it. It cost $150 million to make it. When you watch it, you'll see where the money went. The money went on the cast. A big chunk of that money went on this cast, but it's got really good special effects. $150 million to make it, and it only took in $30 million at the worldwide box. But I knew that movie was going to bomb before it even hit theaters. When I heard about that movie, I said, oh, that's not going to do good. Here's one that I could see why it didn't do good, but again, this is another one with a great cast. Joaquin Phoenix is on this list like 3-4 times. So you got Joaquin Phoenix, Josh Brolin, Owen Wilson, Catherine Watterson, Reese Witherspoon, Benicio del Toro. I mean, Martin Short. This movie got a great cast, and it's not a bad movie. It's a little bit more than I. It's a strong I. And we got Inherent Vice. Inherent Vice, it took in only $10 million at the worldwide box. $10 million. And it cost $20 million to make it. I can see where the money went. The money went more than likely on the cast. We got a Scarlett Johansson flick here, guys. It's called Under the Skin. So, Under the Skin, it took in $7 million. And it cost $13 million to make it. So, didn't even break even. That's almost in the 50% club. Next up is a movie that I thought was excellent. I went to the theater to see this one, and I thought it was excellent movie. I don't know why it didn't do good. I can't say anything bad about this movie. It was great. Dr. Sleep, fantastic follow-up to The Shining. So Dr. Sleep took in only $31 million, and it cost $45 million to make it. I think it was money well spent to make it. It just didn't recoup his money back. I thought, again, like I said before, when I opened the video, a lot of these are good movies. A lot of these are great movies. They didn't resonate with the audience. And the last one here, we got a pretty decent cast in this one. Robert Pattinson, Sienna Miller, Tom Holland. I'm not a fan of his acting. Outside of Spider-Man, Tom Holland can't act his way out of a paper bag. Keep his ass in Marvel. Don't let him do shit else. And Charlie Hunnam. Human. We have The Lost City of Z. Good movie. Good movie. And it, if I wrote this shit down right, it took in $20 million and it cost $30 million to make it. So that's 25 box office flops. Some of them flopped harder than others. Some of them just broke even. Some didn't even break even. A couple of them was like only took in half of what they put out to make it. So it's a lot of variables when movies that flop, when that discussion of movies flopping come up, because we can see a movie that does, for example, we can see a movie like Battleship that did $303 million at the worldwide box and it's still considered a flop because it lost the studio $199 million. So they out of $199 million, probably more than likely on marketing. That's a big chunk. Marketing, I don't know. I'm looking at the cast on Battleship. I don't think they spent too much on the cast. So I think a lot in the special effects, a lot of special effects work in that movie. That movie got damn near as much special effects work in it as Independence Day. Okay, so that's a special effects heavy movie. So that's where a lot of the money for that one went, and I'm willing to bet a lot of the money went on marketing for that one. Okay, and I'm quite sure they paid Rihanna a nice little chunk of change to pop up in that movie too. So that just goes to show that a lot of these movies are good movies. They just didn't make the studios the money that they needed to become profitable. Nowadays, it seems like in order for a movie to be profitable, it's got to make $1 billion. But the only movies that's really doing that kind of money is movies that are based on well-loved IPs and good superhero movies. Good. Not all the superhero movies do $1 billion, but there's quite a few of them, and a lot of them is hitting over 500 million. The majority of superhero movies is definitely hitting over 5, 6. The majority of them is probably hitting over 700 million. A few of them is hitting over $1 billion, but some of them shocked the shit out of me that they hit over $1 billion, like Aquaman, the first one. That went into the $1 billion club. I was shocked. It was good. The first one was good. I ain't gonna say it was all right. It was good. The second one was just, yeah. But anyway, guys, that's my take on box office flops. As we discussed, a lot of these movies are bangers. A lot of these are classics. They just didn't resonate well with the audience in the worldwide box. But in years, they have gone on to become classics. And I think, like Matt Damon did that interview, and he discussed DVDs as being another stream of, especially during the DVD era, being another stream where Hollywood could put out movies that they wasn't too sure of, because if they didn't get all the money up front in the box office, they got it when the physical release. Now they don't have that physical release. They doing streaming. I'm quite sure streaming for the studios, I don't think streaming is as profitable as physical media sales. But since streaming is so big now, a lot of people refuse to buy physical media. So all they have to count on now is what they get per stream, or whatever they get for licensing the movie to the streaming service. So that's why studios aren't taking chances on the kind of movies they used to take chances on before. So a lot of times we're getting these big budgeted movies because the studio's hoping that they can capitalize on putting out a bigger budget, more of a spectacle type of movie. And when they get burnt putting out those big spectacles, they kind of pull back a little bit. Well, guys, that's my take on box office flops. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.